Why uncertainty is attractive. Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach, and today I'm talking about why uncertainty is attractive, especially at the beginning of a courtship, when you first start dating someone, when you have first met someone that you are hoping to get into a relationship with. So the first thing I want to talk about is excitement. So when you begin a courtship, when you first start dating someone, there is this air of excitement and anticipation and nervousness because if you're really attracted to this person, if you think they're really cute, when you go on a date with them, you have this kind of energy around you that is very excited because you've met someone new and you don't know everything about this person yet. All you know is that you really like the way that they look, and you're on this journey to get to know them. And it's this level of uncertainty that creates that excitement, and it's really important that the uncertainty is there because that's what builds the anticipation, that's what keeps you coming back for more, basically, and keeps the other person coming back for more. And also there's this kind of, do they like me, don't they like me, and things like that. So it creates this excitement, and this excitement is really, really important, and it's really, really attractive. And it's really, really important that all relationships first go through this phase. And the reason why this is because this phase is sort of like a probation period where you're kind of getting to know each other, you're figuring out whether or not this person is right for you, whether they have the right attitude, whether they can, have that emotional self-control, and things like that. This is where you kind of figure out whether this person knows how to flirt, knows how to date, knows how to do the courtship process. And even though we're not really consciously aware of it, these are things that we are looking for subconsciously without really ever knowing. So we do these tests at the beginning of a courtship to figure out basically if this person gets it, if this person knows how to do the right things, if this person knows how to build attraction, if this person knows how to be intimate with you, if this person knows how to communicate with you and get to know you. And this is where you find out whether or not if this person is self-centered or if they are a giver, things like that. So it's really important that you have this process at the beginning of a relationship so you can kind of figure each other out. And because you're going through all these heightened emotions and this excitement, and the adrenaline kicks in when you're on dates and stuff like that, this is the part of the process of your relationship that you will probably remember like a lot, because there are a lot of emotions that go into the mix, like excitement and stuff. So you'll remember these moments a lot. I remember like pretty much most of the first dates that I had with my wife because of the anticipation or the new experiences. Like, you do remember this part of the relationship like almost immediately, like almost exactly, because of these heightened emotions. Like, you remember the clothes that they were wearing, you'll remember the way that they'd done their hair, you'll remember the way that they smell and things like that, because it is such an intense experience. And it's also a really attractive experience, and it's really important that you go through this process correctly and have that period of uncertainty and courtship before you get into a relationship. If you're enjoying this video so far, then please leave a like on it, and please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if there's anything you'd like me to discuss in a future video, then please let me know down in the comments, and if you have any tips and ideas yourself. Thank you so much. So at the beginning of a relationship, when you're doing this courtship process where you're seeing each other but you're not really in a committed relationship yet, it's really important that things are uncertain. It has to be uncertain in the beginning. And the reason why I say this is because, let's say you tell the person that you've been on a date with that you're in love with them and you really, really like them. Now, sometimes on really rare occasions, they might reciprocate, but especially if they have a really, really high level of attraction for you, especially if they are feeling the same kinds of things. But typically, usually, like let's say like 90% of the time, maybe even less than that, maybe like 95% of the time, when you're on a date with someone, it's best to leave that kind of talk until later. And the reason why that is because if you tell someone that you really, really like them straight away, without going through the courtship process, they will think you're strange. They will think you're weird. And that is literally why, because they're not there yet. They're not emotionally at that point to be saying to you that they like you, that they want to be in a relationship with you. Because relationships usually happen typically after about 2 months of dating, right? And the way that I see it is you date each other once a week for a few weeks, and then you start seeing each other more and more as you both start to fall in love with each other. And then it gets to a point where you're seeing each other most days, and then you start meeting family and friends, their family and friends, and that's when you start getting into that relationship. And they may bring up the topic of getting in a relationship with you, or they may just add you as like in a relationship on Facebook or something like that. So no words might not actually be spoken about you two getting into a relationship. It's just the fact that you two are not dating anyone else and stuff like that. So you are in that relationship because you've become naturally exclusive with one another because of the amount of time you're spending together and the fact that neither of you are dating anyone else. Or it could be something that they bring up. They might say something like, where is this going? And when they basically say that, that's usually meaning that they're wondering whether or not this is going towards a relationship or not. So if they're saying things like that, if they're wondering what are we and things like that, then it's most likely that you are in a relationship and you are getting to that point, you are getting to that stage. Of course though, if someone does ask you that you've been dating, don't assume that it does mean that, because for whatever reason they might actually want friends with benefits or something. So if they're saying to you, where is this going, the best thing for you to say is just ask them what they mean by that, right? It's just best to ask that kind of question so they can tell you specifically what they mean. And they'll either say something like, well, I'm looking for a relationship, and then you'll be like, cool, let's be in a relationship or something. You can reciprocate the fact that they want to be in a relationship with you. Or they might bring up something like, well, I'm not really looking for anything serious, and stuff like that. And then you can decide whether or not you want to carry on with them, and if you don't want anything serious as well. Or if you do want something serious, that is usually when you would break off things with them and look for someone else. But that kind of conversation about relationships, about being really, really into someone, about being in love with someone, or about really, really liking someone, comes after around 2 months of dating. It doesn't happen before then, unless, let's say, you let them say that first, right? If they come to you and say something like that and you feel the same way. But usually that kind of thing happens after about 2 months of dating and seeing each other, and that's when you become exclusive. So if you say to someone, if you get rid of that uncertainty though straight away and you are certain, and basically you become certain to them and you say to them something like, I'm in love with you, or I really, 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 really like you, it gets rid of the mystery, it gets rid of the uncertainty, and uncertainty at the beginning is really, really attractive. It's only when you get into a relationship that you want things to become more certain. That's why people, get committed to each other, because they want that certainty. That's when people move in together. That's when people, get married. They want that certainty, but they need it later on in the relationship, not at the beginning of a relationship. At the beginning of a relationship, at the beginning of a courtship, so before you enter that relationship, it needs to be uncertain. You need to date each other, and you can't be saying to them that you're in love with them or how much you like them. So this was a mistake that I made when I was a teenager, especially. If I had a crush on a girl, I would tell them that I was in love with them, right? And that always ended badly. It never got reciprocated. And that's how I thought it was supposed to be. I'd seen a lot of Disney movies growing up. I'd seen a lot of romantic comedies and things like that, thinking that it goes from just being buddies and friends and then you're in a relationship. But that's not how romance works. There has to be a courtship. There has to be a flirtation. There has to be this question of, do they like me or don't they like me? That has to be in place. That has to be there. That has to happen within the first 2 months of a courtship. It's not forever. So you can hold off, right? And it's fun, it's enjoyable, it's a fun experience to go through. Courtship is really, really interesting and fun and exciting, and it kind of feels like a white knuckle ride. There's so much anticipation, there's so much excitement, there's so much mystery, excitement, and that's the whole, process. That's the whole beauty of it. And then you do end up in that romantic relationship and things become more certain, and that's when that love feeling starts coming in and you start becoming more and more committed to each other. But One of the mistakes that I see people doing is they go from 0 to 100. They say that they're in love with them or they really, really like them before, prematurely basically. And then they get rejected and they don't understand why. They don't understand why that person doesn't reciprocate the feelings, or they don't understand why their friend zoned them. And it's simply because they feel strange around you. Saying to someone, getting rid of that uncertainty straight away and saying to them that you really like them or you're really in love with them, it ruins the uncertainty. And because they're not there yet emotionally, because they need that most of the time, most people need that 2 months to get to know someone, to develop those feelings. But if you've developed those feelings instantly for them, they're going to think it's weird. They're going to think you're strange. They're not going to like it. They're going to friend zone you. They're going to reject you. The only times when that won't happen is if they also have that same high level of attraction for you. But most people you meet won't have that high level of attraction for you. They'll just have, like a regular kind of attraction for you. Right? It takes time for that attraction to build. It takes a long time for those feelings to develop, right? It takes a good 2 months at least. That's the least amount of time. So you need to allow them to develop those feelings for you, right? So even if you are feeling like you're in love with them, even if you are feeling like you really, really, really like them, it's best not to say that until you two end up in a relationship. It's best not to confess that until you two are in a relationship and you have finished courting each other. And that's why uncertainty is attractive, and why certainty, especially at the beginning, is unattractive. You have to let them develop those feelings for you over time. They have to get there emotionally. You have to allow that to happen for them. If you would like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.